Hello and welcome to episode number 57, I think, of the TEW 2020 Challenge Run. This is going to be Monday Night Raw for Monday, week 4 of September 2020, and it is the go-home show for the Red Brand's Unforgiven pay-per-view this Saturday. And we're going to have a lot of matches confirmed here tonight, and the card will be finalised. Without any further ado, let's just jump straight into the show.
I won't be great, I'm going away.
Randy Orton opens the show, and he explains. He basically comes to the ring, and this whole point is, I don't think in the 3 weeks I've had him back had him as a face since SummerSlam, he's explained why he would help his old rival Edge. So he's going to do that here. Basically, he explains that after everything they went through World War in the year, why would he help a man who beat him up and had a 40-minute war at WrestleMania? And he says, well, everything he said about Adam was true. But after he came back, he does love him like a brother. He is one of his favourite men on the roster. And that is why he said he wanted to send him home to his wife and kids, because he just come off this career-ending neck surgery. And quite frankly, Randy Orton can be a sadistic son of a bitch, and he was being a sadistic son of a bitch. But if he cares about you and if he views you as his friend, he will do everything he can to protect you. And he saw at WrestleMania after that last man standing match that he didn't really need to intervene for Edge, because Edge was actually a lot better than he thought he was. So he feels like Edge can now ride off on his own and go into business for himself and not need Randy Orton to send him home for his own good. But now he has another idea. Edge is going to be around. He's going to face the Monday Night Messiah this Saturday, Unforgiven. And his new goal is that he, Edge, along with Drew McIntyre, Cesaro, Liv Morgan, and everyone else, have our new goal, and that is to shut up the Monday Night Messiah and end this greater good bull crap for good. So basically, because I had him as the babyface, and it didn't really make sense that he would turn and help the man that he fucking nearly killed early on in the year. So this is just him explaining, look, yeah, he did do all that to try and help Edge, but now he realises he doesn't need the help. So he's going to let Edge go off and do his own thing, because he realises he's a lot healthier than he thought he was. Also, picture pack's changed again to the dynamic picture pack for the Samp one. It says it's compatible with this mod, but most of the pictures that aren't from WWE are still blank. But that's an admin thing that I'll fiddle with after this show has gone off the air. So all that matters for YouTube is that they are new pictures. Opening match is a 75. Kevin Owens defeats James Storm in 10 minutes and 41 with a stunner. Why did this do so good? There wasn't even a storyline involved. Kev gets a 76, Storm has 56. This should have got a 66, but it got a 75. I think we're getting there now, guys. I think our rating's going to go up. We had a bit of a blip from like April to like June, but now we're on the upswing definitely, because this is getting a 75. After the match, an 86. This fucking feud, holy shit. I think Kevin Owens might be like, I might have to adjust some stuff, because he's doing really good right now. But Elias sneaks in behind him and he cracks a guitar over Kevin's back. And he says this Saturday, ignore the text, he will sing his greatest hit in celebration of his victory over Kevin Owens. So it will be Kevin Owens versus Elias at Unforgiven. Backstage, 63 rated segment. And we pan, we've got Dakota and Raquel sort of in their locker room, and they're looking so annoyed because they can just hear like inaudible chattering from off screen. And then the camera will pan to show that they're standing next to Robert Stone and Leah and Brandy, the Robert Stone brand, who are like going over. He's got some clipboard with like checker points on it for their match tonight. And then he turns to Dakota. He's like, well, since this is the 8-woman tag night, it's us four against Mina, Marika, Mizuki, and Tama J-Flow. We need you to go over the game plan as well, not just Leah and Brandy. And Dakota was just like, But basically the game plan is for you to shut up and let us do the work, because we are the champions and you're new here. If you want to get your first win here on Raw, you'll listen to us and let us do all the work, understood? She's like, I don't know how you did it, but you've managed to weasel your girls into the match on Saturday for the women's tag team titles. So if your girls want to make it that far, you will listen and you'll stay out of our way tonight, or else Raquel will make sure they don't make it to Unforgiven. And then Stone sort of like stops talking, he starts to back away when Raquel would take the paper, scrunch it in a ball and shove it in his mouth before they leave, and he looks all embarrassed. So the women's tag title match at Unforgiven this Saturday, Takara and Raquel will be defending on both nights. They will defend on Unforgiven and at No Mercy the night after, if they make it that far. But basically the tag titles will be defended on both nights. And they're both in Fatal 4-Way Tag Team matches. The one at Unforgiven will be Dakota Kai and Raquel defending against Aliyah and Brandy of the Robert Stone brand, and Mina and Tam of J-Flow, and then Mizuki and Marika also of J-Flow. So there's two J-Flow teams, two combinations that could win the titles in a Fatal 4-Way Tag Team match with Robert Stone brand and the champions. 14. Toni Storm defeats Nadi in 4 minutes 40 seconds with a strong 0. Toni is 69, Nadi in 18. And after her loss in the Mae Young Classic first round, I felt like she was the best choice to have lose, so I didn't really want to job out somebody who advanced. 72 8th segment. Otis is there with his 24/7 title. He's like, oh yeah, showing up his belt. When R-Truth and Carmella come up to him and they're like, hey Otis, hey, do you fancy giving me, oh hey Tucker, sorry, do you fancy giving me my baby back? And then Carmella's like, Otis, he means Otis, ignore him. He's getting you confused. And then they're like, hey, and it was like, I don't want to give my title up. Me. And I'll choose, okay, I'll give you a trade. I'll give you, and then he pulls some sort of food out of his back. And he's like, this, you can have this plate of hot food here. And it was sort of, he contemplates it, but then it declines in the end because it is a title. Then after it's like, I'll let you go on a date with Carmella. And she sort of looks all concerned. She's like, no, I don't want to date him. And he's like, no, she's not my peach. I only want to date my peach. So R-Truth's running out of ideas. And then when Otis goes to leave, Truth manages to roll him up. He tries to do the roll up thing, but he can't get him over. And then Carmella gives him a super kick. Otis goes down for the 1, 2, 3, and R-Truth rolls him up. And he gets his baby back. 58, this is a fucking banger. Sonya Deville gets a quick win, well not quick, quite a long competitive match, 10 minutes, 21 seconds. Against Naomi, Sonya gets a 56, Naomi gets a 49.
May God be with you all.
The business does pick up, ladies and gentlemen, because John Cena is back in the building. The trumpets blare, and he's looking around with his arms around the air as he's greeted with a mixed reception. And he's like, God damn, is it good to be back here on Monday Night Raw? He's like, I know what you're thinking. John, we haven't seen you since WrestleMania. How are you holding up after you went to the Firefly Funhouse? And he's like, well, and he takes his hat off because he's getting super serious. He's like, if I got to be honest, the Firefly Funhouse was the worst experience of my career. And then he's like, well, make no mistake about it, I went to the Fiend, but I'm feeling no different here, ladies and gentlemen. You've been begging me to change for about a decade, but it's going to take more than a spooky man, a clown mask to get me to change. You should know that because I'm John Cena, recognize. You can't see me. And then out comes R-Truth with Carmella. And he's sort of like all starstruck. He's like, oh my god, it's my hero John Cena. My childhood hero John Cena. And then Cena laughs like, hello Truth, long time no see, how are you holding up? I see that green belt you've got over your shoulder there. You're still making waves here on Raw. And then R-Truth's like, John, if it would be, I know you love the kid, you love Make-A-Wish, and it's little Jimmy's wish to see his daddy, or whatever I am to little Jimmy, to see him go on one-on-one with my childhood hero, John Cena. Will you wrestle me right here, right now on Monday Night Raw? And R-Truth, John Cena looks around, of course the crowd's going yes, 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 because they love John Cena and R-Truth together. And then he takes the shirt off, he's like, well, I wouldn't want to let the fans down, because I ain't changing for no one, damn it, and they still run the show here. So we are going to get the long-awaited match between R-Truth and his childhood hero, John Cena. Non-title, 24/7 title not on the line, so John Cena can quickly beat him. But no, R-Truth defeats John Cena in 9 minutes and 14 seconds with a quick roll-up. He runs out, he got his baby in his hands, Carmella on his back, celebrating this monumental win over his childhood hero. And John Cena, he can't believe it, he's in shock on the mat. He sort of just shrugs his shoulders, he's like, well, what are you going to do, Jack? I've got a lot to do now I'm back here on Raw. But in quite possibly the biggest upset in 2020, R-Truth pins John Cena. Moving on from that, Miz and Morrison do a dirt sheet where they mock Cedric and Ricochet, basically saying how they are indie boys with no charisma. They can't cut promos like Miz and Morrison. Miz and Morrison are the best tag team of the 21st century, and they challenge Cedric and Ricochet to a match at Unforgiven, and it will be on the kickoff show, Miz and Morrison against Ricochet and Cedric Alexander. But yeah, that's basically it. I don't really do the dirt sheet segments justice because I can't really capture the sort of I have a hard time with New Day promos, specifically Miz and Morrison dirt sheet segments. And there's another thing. I think I'm alright at doing R-Truth stuff. Yeah, there's another comedy sort of thing that I can't really capture. Here's the 8-woman tag. It is Aaliyah, Brandy, Dakota, and Raquel defeating J-Flo, Mina, Marika, Mizuki, and Tam. Raquel Gonzalez gets the pin over Mina with a big choke slam. 27 for Brandy, 30 for Aaliyah, 46 for Raquel, 61 for Dakota, 38 for Tam, 33 for Mizuki, 25 for Marika, and 40 for Mina. So this is the state of the Raw Women's Tag Team division. You see, because in real life they've got one tag team. So I've got these 4 teams here, or 2 teams in a faction, and none of them are on real life main roster because I've had to try and build this division up from scratch. And you see, it's working with Dakota and Raquel, sort of with Summer J-Flo, but yeah, it's still a work in progress. We are going to get it there eventually. I feel like when we go back up to big or large or whatever, then their pops will grow a lot quicker. But after the match, they're 61. Dakota and Raquel are celebrating their win, and when Robert Stone jumps in the ring, and he tries to strike Raquel from behind, but then she just takes it. She's unfazed. She turns around to attack Robert Stone, but she gets jumped on by the two other women, and of course the numbers game takes her to the floor. And then Dakota's like, "Boy, fuck off, bitch," and they take her down as well. And then Aaliyah and Brandy pick up the women's tag titles, and they do these weird poses with them. As Robert Stone excitedly cheers them on because they've got their first win on Raw, and they could become the women's tag team champions this Saturday. 72. Charlie Crusoe's with Liv. And she's like, "Hey Liv, last week Eve said that it would be you and a partner of your choice against Candice and Ruby ahead of your triple threat match at Unforgiven on Saturday. It's like, have you found a partner for tonight?" And she's like, "Well, I haven't got a partner right now, but it's not because I haven't got options. There are a lot of women that want a chance to team with the champ and take out Candice and Ruby, but I need to make sure I pick the best option." And then from off screen, you're like, and the camera pans, and the Queen is there in her robe, looking all exquisite. And she's like, "Liv, if you want a partner who knows a thing or two about winning, you should pick the Queen, because I'm the top dog here in the women's division. Woo." And Liv's like, "Okay, you do make a compelling case. But, so yeah, you can come out and you can be my partner tonight." And then she smiles, she's like, "Okay, well, since I'm doing you a favour tonight, when we win, I expect you to do me a favour too. Woo." Taps her on the shoulder, taps the belt, implying that she would like a title shot. Because of course she would. Fucking hell. I think I found Sheamus' new role on this show. Second week in a row, he has a random brawl. This time with Mr. Throw 'em Up himself. He saw Sheamus kick Jinder's ass last week, and he thought who better to take the fight to this big fighting Irishman than the man who loves kicking ass and getting his ass kicked. And it shows because they have a 73 rated banger, but Sheamus keeps him down with a bro kick in 10 minutes 11 seconds. Oney gets a 57 and a 75 for Sheamus. I feel like a weekly segment on Raw is going to be Sheamus' random brawls with random members of the roster. Speaking of 73 rated matches, this did a lot better than I thought it would as well. But it's Candice and Ruby against Charlotte and Liv, and it's the heels that actually do get the win. Candice LeRae pins the Raw Women's Champion Liv Morgan. Liv gets a 55, 74 for Charlotte, 56 for Ruby, 63 for Candice LeRae. Another match. There's a lot of run of matches here on this part of the show. Big E defeats Brendan Vink by DQ when Bronson Reed runs in and gets disqualified for the Aussie Mite. 78 for E, 52 for Brendan Vink. They've got great chemistry, so that's good to know. But yeah, they're just a quick match because Kofi beat Shane Thorne last week, and Bronson Reed ran in to stop Big E even defeating Brendan Vink here tonight by pin. He still beat him by DQ. But after the match, Aussie might lay out the two members of New Day. But they take Kofi out, but Big E fights them off. He takes Shane Thorne down, he takes Brendan Vink down, and Bronson Reed's waiting on the outside. And the two big meaty men get into a tussle, and they both crash through the barricade, taking them, wiping them both out. I think Reed will probably bleed out the one who sends him through, so he'd land on top of E. So they'd both just be collapsed, and they would both need to be stretchered out because these were two big meaty men slamming each other through a barricade. You can't just get up from that. 79. Ruby and Candice are backstage. They're sort of like taking the wrist tape off and like getting ready after their match earlier on. And they enter their locker room, and as soon as they enter, Seth stood right there in the doorway, with his arms crossed, just staring at the door, waiting for them to come through. And he's like, "You're late." And Ruby and Candice like, but we just had the match, and we've just come straight back here from the match, and we were walking down the hallway, we were coming as fast as we could. But then Akam just sort of grabs them both by the neck and drags them to their seats, and they sit down with the rest of the church. Gargano, Priest, Murphy, of course, with the title. And Seth's like, with SummerSlam was an awful night for us, and Unforgiven, we have a chance to right those wrongs. That night that cannot be repeated. We need to ensure victory for the greater good this Saturday. So tonight, all of us, Gargano, Priest, Murphy, we need to take out Orton, Cesaro, McIntyre, and Edge to ensure that the quest for gold in the church will be fulfilled. The prophecy will be fulfilled this Saturday, Unforgiven. And then Murphy he's got a question, he sort of raised his hand, and Seth snapped. He's like, "There are no questions, just get it done." And Murphy he goes to make some sort of snide remark, but he just lets it go because it's not worth it. It's not worth back-chatting to the Messiah over. So, little bit of mad cult vibes really coming to the forefront here. No, I shouldn't laugh, because this is actually a pretty important segment in the grand scheme of things, especially long term. So Charlie Caruso, she's backstage. She's cutting a promo with Andrade, Zelina, Escobar, and Scott. And Zelina says, look, she knows September hasn't been the best month for the Vega Mafia. I mean, last week Andrade had a great match with Randy Orton, but he came up short. And make no mistake about it, they're still here, and they're still looking to make their mark here on Monday Night Raw. And then before she can finish, Carmella runs past screaming. She's got like referees and doctors and road agents with her. She's calling them over, and then of course the camera would follow them. Charlie with her microphone would follow Carmella. She's like, "What's up, Carmella? What's happening?" And then Cameron would turn to say, "R-Truth laid out in a pile of his own blood." And then she's like, "What happened here? Did you see anything?" And Carmella was like, "No, I left Truth alone for like 5 minutes. I came back and found him in this state." And they have no idea who attacked R-Truth. But the Great Khali doesn't care. He walks past, he looks down at Truth, puts a foot on his chest, and of course, because there's referees there tending for him and he's still a 24/7 champion, rules are in play. 1, 2, 3, Khali picks his belt back up and waddles away with it. but Carmella can't get angry because she's too worried about her good friend R-Truth, because somebody has attacked him. Speaking of groundbreaking, nobody mentioned anything groundbreaking, but this certainly will be, because next week is the first week of WWE's October India tour, and at the end of the month will be Super Showdown, the big dual-branded Indian Super Show, and also Evolution 2 on the Sunday, and Super Showdown will be on the Saturday. But most importantly, Shane McMahon is here, and next week he's got a couple of big announcements to make. We then cut to Gorilla. Edge is in Gorilla. He's sort of putting his jacket on, drinking his water, pouring water over his hair and all sorts, getting ready for his match. That's when Drew McIntyre approaches him. He says he still can't get over the fact that Edge is back, and that it's quite honestly an honour to team with him tonight. And there's no other person that he would like to be with, to be aligned with, to stop Seth and his gaggle of goons. And that's the legendary Hall of Famer Edge. And Cesaro walks in. He's like, "Well, Drew, everything you said was spot on. I agree with you 100%. But now is not the time to dawdle on this. We have to keep our head in the game and defeat Seth Rollins in the church tonight. Because momentum will then be on our side if we can do that. And we can put an end to their greater good scheme once and for all at Unforgiven." Then Orton walks past. Doesn't say anything. He just stares at Edge. Edge stares back at him, of course, still a bit tense. And then Edge and Orton just give a little slow, respectful nod at each other. And then Randy Orton's music hits, and he walks out as the main event starts. 78. That's pretty good, considering there's some weaker, some not so. Yeah, that's fine. In an exceptional match, Drew McIntyre, Edge, Randy Orton, and Cesaro defeat the Church of Rollins, Seth Rollins, Murphy, Gargano, and Priest in 26 minutes and 30 seconds. Basically, they take each other down. Gargano gets Orton in position for the one final beat DDT. He goes to hit it, but as he jumps over the ropes, he gets his arm around Orton's head, but he can't slam him down. Gargano pulls some sort of shocked face, and then Orton tosses him into the air and nails an RKO out of nowhere and scores the 1-2-3 over Johnny Wrestling. Priest a 59, Gargano a 67, Murphy a 76, Seth 92, 81 Cesaro, 88 Orton, 88 McIntyre, Edge 90. I think, in terms of story and the parts involved in this, I would say this is the biggest Raw main event of the save so far, and 78 is pretty good. I cannot turn my nose up at that. 79 for the show. That is where we bang on pop, apparently, because we don't get any pop changes. But what matters more than the 79 is what you thought of the show, so do let me know what you thought in the comments below. And I'll see you next time for SmackDown's Go Home show for No Mercy. See you then.